To start off, I just want to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land of which Fiona and I are on, Jajarurung, and on all the lands that you are on, and pay respects to their elders past, present, and emerging.
A little bit of background. I know some people in the session do know who FRRR are, but some don't. So just a little bit on us. So Foundation for Rural and Regional Renewal, we've been operating in regional communities across Australia for over 20 years now. And we basically act as a conduit for government agencies, government departments, philanthropic organisations, as well as private individuals and corporations in investing in the vitality of regional communities across the country. And that ranges in a diverse range of activity and services that we work to connecting communities with. This particular program, thanks Brooke, is part of an Australian government initiative, the Future Drought Fund, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. For those that don't, the Future Drought Fund is an investment by the Australian government in agricultural dependent communities across the country in helping prepare for drought. And that's what brings us to the program in this session today. This particular program is the Small Networks Grants, which is a part of the Helping Regional Communities Prepare for Drought initiative under the Future Drought Fund investment itself. In the presentation pack itself, you'll see that there's a picture there of the annual report for the 21-22 year. 22-23 is not available quite yet. So if you wanted to get some information on a little bit about the fund and where the investment's been going and some of the benefits that it's been and changes that it's been influencing in regional communities, just have a look on that link once presentation pack comes through to you, or you can also find that on the Future Drought Fund website.
So the Small Network Grants, this is the second round of 2 rounds, and I guess this is the meaty part right here. What are we talking about? So 2 streams of funding. One is for grants up to $20,000. All rural LGAs that are outside those of Stream 2 are eligible to apply. And the Stream 2 is grants up to $50,000 in 5 regions: the Far West New South Wales, arid lands of the Northern Territory, tablelands of the Northern Territory, Northern Queensland dry tropics, and Western Australia Great Southern region. On our website, in the guidelines there is a complete list of all the LGAs that make up those regions. Now you might ask why those regions. Basically, these regions were not able to receive funding in the Community Impact Program that we rolled out last year. So that's why they've got set aside a specific amount for them. These grants are open now. They opened last Tuesday and they close on the 26th of March. When you get after the webinar, we'll send you out the link to this presentation, and you can click on any of the links in here to take you to the guidelines or the application form. Thanks, Brooke. So what type of grants are we talking about? The purpose of the program is to fund projects that strengthen the networks within communities so that they can be better, they can work better together to prepare for future drought. So we're talking about things like networks, infrastructure, community events, learning initiatives, and training initiatives. So networks are anything that strengthen the capacity and the capability and coordination of professional, social, or community networks within your community. Infrastructure, here we're talking about small-scale projects that improve the connectedness and well-being of people within your community and their access to facilities. Community events, these could be things like field days, conferences, forums, summits, seminars, anything like that facilitates professional, social, and community connection to build understanding of drought and the climate change associated risks. Then we've got development and learning initiatives. So these things facilitate professional, personal, and leadership-related development and learning to support drought preparedness. And finally, training initiatives. So these improve skills and capacity in community risk management, planning and project delivery, again, in relation to drought.
Just to touch a little bit on the community infrastructure as well, that could be small scale things like Kate said, that might make a facility more, provide a broader offering to the community, or could make the facility more comfortable for community to join and come together and connect in. So there's a whole, there's a broad spectrum of things that are available under the program. So if you've got any questions, we'll go through questions later, but if there's anything that pops up, all of our contact details are in here, and, just reach out to us here at FRRR and the team can work through it all with you. I will just quickly respond. There was a quick question that just popped up in the chat about clarifying regional LGAs. So basically that is any local government area that sits outside of metropolitan areas. So the Australian federal government has classifications from metropolitan right through to very remote communities, and I think was Western District Regional Council. Conceptually, yes, that LGA is eligible to apply in Stream 1. So what can't be funded? There are a few things in the program that we can't fund. Things like prizes and gifts and trophies and awards at events and activities, projects that solely focus on animal welfare or specifically religion as well, activities that don't support agriculturally dependent communities, that type of thing. So there is a full list in the program, but we just in the program guidelines rather. But I would just draw a couple of things to your attention. Some things that we observed in round 1 of funding applications. We can't support projects that primarily result in agricultural or environmental outcomes. The whole pretense of this program is to support communities in a social way. So from, social connectivity, social capabilities, and supporting communities to function productively in that way. Projects that result primarily in economic outcomes, farm income diversification or tourism, or projects that primarily focus on private financial gain are not eligible to apply, and we can't fund them. And projects that focus on one beneficiary group. So it might be, an organisation's members, for example, who are looking to be the sole benefits from a program or a project. That's the type of activity that we can't support. We need to see that there is a diverse and broad range of beneficiaries within the community who can, who can benefit from the offering. And just a handy tip as well with infrastructure projects, if you're looking at doing something down at the local hall or, or in a playground or whatnot that your organisation doesn't own, give us a call and have a chat with the staff here, and we'll be able to talk you through some of the, consents and things that we need from the owners for the project to go ahead. So, similarly to anything else, if you've got any questions about the program, you can call us, but we'll chat, we'll ask questions a little down the line as well. Project outcomes. So again, this program does have some desired outcomes for the community around supporting drought preparedness in communities. So there's improving, social connection, collaboration and communication, like Kate said earlier, access and use of services and infrastructure. So again, like we've mentioned already, diversity of community members, so that wide range of community to benefit from the program. We don't necessarily look at specific numbers in community. We very much appreciate that in a lot of communities, very remote communities, you might only have, a population of 80 or 90 people. That's our primary concern, is that that the offering is available to the community no matter how big or small the community is. Increase in knowledge and understanding, the strategies of volunteers and non-for-profits in drought preparedness activities. The whole gambit is available for you in the program guidelines. But one thing that I would draw your attention to when you're looking at your project and what you're looking to apply for, we know that a lot of communities do have projects, you know, a project bank really that they're just looking for funding to apply for, and we really do applaud you for, you know, for that forward thinking. You know, just what we would say of any granting program, not just this one, is when you are looking at your project, be sure that you look at the project, the desired outcomes of the grant program or the funding offering that you're looking to access money from, to make sure that your project does actually align to the project guidelines. You know, that saves a whole lot of heartache down the line, but that's just one thing that we really like to reiterate, is just make sure that you can demonstrate in the application that the project aligns to the program. So that's one thing that assessors will always look for.
And it doesn't have to align to all 7 of these outcomes. But, you know, one or more, particularly as these outcomes show in relation to drought preparedness, wouldn't you say?
Yep, absolutely. at least one.
So on this slide, we've just put together a couple helpful hints on and tips for applying for a grant. So as we've said, strong projects really tell us how this project will help your community in the next drought. Is it that people will be better informed? Will they be better connected? Will they be working together in ways that they don't already? The facilities be better resourced to help. I guess, you know, a lot of communities have been through drought before. So think about what you didn't have then and what you wish you would have had, so that we can put it in place for when it happens again. And just really clearly explain that link to drought preparedness. I guess, I mean, sometimes when we have a program here at FRRR that's very specific in a purpose, it's interesting how many applicants just don't even mention that at all in their application. They take it for granted. So yes, please be very clear on how it will help enhance drought preparedness in your community from a social level. So strengthening social capital and capability. Again, that's the networks and relationships among people so that they can work together more effectively for a common goal. Strong projects also have evidence of the benefit to the wider community and show strong partnerships. Yes, we understand that you can write in the application, we're working with the CWA and the local preschool, etc. But showing that through letters of support will really strengthen your application. They don't have to be formal letters. I always emphasize this. You know, I put down here just a quick little 1-sentence letter of support there as an example. It can be a screenshot of a Facebook post when someone said, "What a great event, can't wait to join next time." I can answer the phone and take a letter of support over the phone. It just shows that you're not alone in this project, that your community is behind you and supporting, and they all agree that this is really key for your development. Strong projects also have a detailed budget with quotes or rationale as to how you arrived at the program costs. Now, I know that sometimes quotes are hard to get, especially in more remote communities. I would just make sure that you understand that we will not ever hold you exactly to that quote if you're successful. A quote is just showing us that you've thought about it. You know approximately how much the project's going to cost. You know, it can be a screenshot of a Bunnings website. It can be, I've just done some research, and in general, a guest speaker costs about $3,000 type of thing. You'll still have full ability to go with however and whoever you want if you're successful. It just gives us that comfort, I guess, to know that you've not under budgeted. So we're not going to give you a $20,000 grant for a $50,000 project, and you're going to have to pay that extra amount all by yourself. We would never want to put you in a situation where it is negatively impacting your organization or your community to deliver a project. And finally, strong projects involve First Nations and young people in a genuinely inclusive way. This is one of the purposes of the program. It's one of that we have to support projects that are First Nations and young people related. So I would just, the stronger the project, will have that explained in the application.
And the context of young people within this program is 18 to 35. So you know, those young farmers that are, you know, coming back into community, we're starting to see a lot of. So how are those people reconnecting in the community? A lot of them are being very strong, positive change makers, as I'm sure you're experiencing in your own hometown. Janine, I can see you've got your hand up there, but we might just jump up to Christy first, if that's okay. She's just had her hand up in the screen.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if we were allowed to put our hand up in the middle or we had to wait to the end. So tell me if that's the case.
No, it's all fine. We're here to give you info, so it's fine.
I'm just wondering, and Michael might jump in on this as well, but we have a project out in the Central Darling Shire. It's a cultural centre that's being built, and it is based on tourism. And my thoughts with the project would be that you mentioned in there that you can't do it for profit or gain or whatever, but it's a community-led, community-operated, community-run organisation that is for the entire community. It's not segregated at all. But if we were to apply, say, for example, for I don't know, something infrastructure-wise for that centre, you know, because it is the centre for people to get together more socially and provide language and dance and you know, more cultural experiences within the town. But it also derives a profit from not particularly those activities specifically, but from the cultural centre itself and its displays and what it sells within the centre. Would that still be eligible or not?
So when you say it brings a profit, is it a profit that goes back to private individuals, or is the structure of the organisation, the profit goes back into the coffers to keep doing what they're doing and running that facility as an offering to the community? We do have some centres where we've been able to support projects where they have a shared shop space, for example, that brings people in and creates a network in the community. But those people may have, you know, small craft wares or, you know, micro businesses that they run out of that facility, but it's creating that network that's bringing people together, that's sharing ideas, that's creating opportunity for inclusive,ness and, you know, empowering community. Yeah.
And
so
the organisation is structured so that it goes back into the organisation to sustain itself, to go back into the community for whatever, you know, if they were to make a profit, it goes back into the community for whatever, you know, the community sees as what they need, place-based practice type stuff.
Yeah. And the centre itself is a not-for-profit?
It is a not-for-profit, yep. It's an Aboriginal ORIC registered organisation,
Yeah.
Okay, cool, great, thank you for that.
It's not that we can't support projects that have an agriculture benefit or environmental or even economic benefit, but it's just when you ask yourself, why do you want this project, is the first reason that pops into your head to create social connections and strengthen the relationships within the community, or is the primary reason, it's income diversification, or it's to help us learn how to maintain the land better? So it has to come back to that. The primary purpose is, social development. Yeah,
that's right. And which sounds like what you've just described.
Yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Janine, we might pop down to you now if that's...
Yeah, so thank you for that. Just wanted to clarify the 18 to 35-year-old. So we have a mentoring association where we match adult mentors to students in district high schools. So they're 12 to 16 in regional communities who are very socially and physically isolated. So we're looking at, we take all of the students to a camp, 3-day camp in Perth once a year. And so looking at funding to get them down there for that social connectedness, the leadership, and then also the connectedness between their schools outside of that camp as well. But there's students themselves who would be our main focus, sort of 12 to 16-year-olds, not 18 to 35-year-olds. How does that work?
That's fine. They're not excluded by any means. You know, the program's not only for First Nations or young people, it's for the broader community, but we're keen to see that First Nation involvement and the young people, you know, that young people cohort. But that project that you've described sounds fantastic. We've supported projects like that in the past. So you know, they're nice little projects and we see great things come out of it for the kids and the adults. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's lovely. You're welcome.
We can only see a few of you, so if anyone else has a question, please do the hand raising thing. Otherwise, I'll go on, but we do have time for other questions later, believe me. Okay. So if you can move to the next slide, please, Brooke. Just to say that there are a number of resources on the FRRR webpage to help you with your application. There's a very basic project planning tool that really just walks you through step by step what you need. There are videos on all the different stages of the process, as well as, you can free to call us at any time. And just to also mention that part of this initiative, FRRR has launched an expertise pool, which, like its name, is a pool of experts that are experts in a variety of professions, industries, etc. And so it might be something worth considering in the development of your project, of reaching out to them and seeing if there is a consultant that you would like to engage to deliver some element of your project or to help you as an organization. And then you can put whatever fees for using them in your application.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Thanks, Brooke.
Yeah. Before you do pop on, Brooke, I might just draw everyone's attention. Like Kate mentioned, we do have a pool of grant seeker resources available on the website. But if a lot of people are new to grant writing and whatnot, so I'd encourage you to have a look. There's quite a few different videos, or there's pamphlet reading, and there's all sorts of bits and pieces in there. One thing that I would draw your attention to is the project planning tab on that page. There's some really good little short videos in there for you to have a look at, just to give you some thinking if you're a little bit stuck on where to go or what to do as far as getting your project off the ground and getting your application sorted. There's some great tips in there, including a project plan template that, we've had some really good feedback from some communities that have found it to be a really helpful resource. So jump on there and have a look and see if there's anything there. If you don't need it, then that's fantastic. But if you are looking for something, those resources are there to support you. So along with the team here at FRRR, so there's myself and Kate and the colleagues in the team, as well as the broader FRRR team. So we move on to the frequently asked questions. So from like we said before, we've had grant round 1 that's completed and will be announced shortly. And some of the questions that we received is we've received funding from the Community Impact Program, which was an earlier program that we ran last year for this initiative, and potentially Small Network Grants round 1. Can we apply for this round? The answer is yes. The guidelines stipulate that you are only able to apply into the grant round once. So if you have received funding within other programs within the Future Drought Fund here at FRRR in the past, you are absolutely eligible to apply. If you do have any final reports that are due, though, I would encourage you to make sure that you're on top of them and that all the information is being made available. Can we call you and discuss a potential project? Absolutely, you can. We're here to help you and support you in developing your projects and your applications. So I would encourage anyone with any questions about the program to call us, even if you think your project is not, you're not quite sure whether it fits in or not. Staff here are actually quite broadly knowledge about our programs here. So, we'd encourage you to reach out and have a chat with the staff, and we can see where we go from there. And the next question that we get quite a lot is, are local councils or government entities eligible to apply? In short, yes. But we also need you to be aware that we can't fund activity that is deemed council or government responsibility. We're aware that quite a lot of small halls, for example, run under different government sections as far as ownership of facilities, but have a subcommittee that sits within them that are responsible, still classed as a government organisation that we have supported well, probably hundreds of in the past, in honesty. So, but again, if you've got any questions, just give us a call. You know, we're here to help, happy to discuss, and really keen to see this investment land in your communities. So we would encourage you to give us a call, reach out. We're happy to have a chat. We'd love to have a chat. We might actually ask if there's any more questions that anyone might have at this stage. I'm glad we could answer the questions that have popped up already. Has anyone got anything else that they wanted to check in on? So some of the project examples that we can share with you, these projects don't just come from within the FDF fund. They're projects from, you know, other programs that we've run as well that support drought preparedness activities in communities. So, you know, again, once we send this documentation out to you, there are links embedded in the documents to access the full case studies on these projects. But, you know, the first one that you can see, that particular project started as a seed funding project to help the shed get off the ground. The evolution over the last 5 or 6 years has actually seen them turn the centre into a real thriving little metropolis for their community, running all kinds of, you know, social groups, education programs, lots of different opportunities that have become available for the community in that space. Online communication, you know, COVID, you know, we curse it, but it's changed the way we live, and, you know, it's made forums like this much more more commonplace. And, you know, we've supported organisations in actually developing and growing those communities and creating stronger networks within those areas of interest. And then, of course, I'm sure all of you are aware that, you know, there's a lot of our communities have taken and continue to take on board a lot of impacts of, you know, being a changing climate, you know, whether it be flooding or droughting or fires, or, you know, we seem to be in that continuous cycle, and, you know, the mental health of our communities or mental strength of our communities is something that's front of mind for a lot of communities. So, you know, we support that type of opportunity in community as well. Again, once this documentation comes out, the tab at the bottom will feed you through to the case studies that we've got available on FRRR's website, and that'll be a full list of projects that we've supported across all of our programs for a number of years. So if you know, even if you're not quite sure of a project idea, you know, have a look in there. There's a great big bank of amazing activities and projects that communities have really designed, built, delivered into their communities. So have a look. There's a lot of information there for you as well. Thanks, Brooke. We might move on to the next one.
So just to reiterate, sorry, thanks, Fiona.
Okay.
Small Network Grants is open now until the 26th of March with 2 streams of funding, one up to $20,000. Again, all rural LGA, so anyone out of metropolitan areas, and another up to $50,000 for those 5 specific regions. If you are not sure if your community is considered rural or regional, etc., just give us a call. Happy to help and let you know that. This program does not have population preferences like many of the other programs at FRRR do. Yeah, happy to talk to you about any projects that you might have, considerations, etc. Yeah, I think that's and next slide, Brooke, is just to wrap it all up. Yeah, the ones that are successful, the funding will be announced mid to late June, and you will have approximately 12 months to complete your project, with reporting due in the end of July 2025. Now, there really aren't any flexibility with these dates, I have to say. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure, it might actually take a little bit longer than that, please just give us a call. We can, you know, talk to you, work through. Maybe there's a part of the project we can apply for instead of the whole thing. Maybe there's a different way of looking at it. Yeah, do you have anything to add to this?
I think that's the main thing. and just remembering that the closing date for the program is the 26th of March at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So think of us over here in the east.
Except for the north part of the east.
Except for the north part of the east. Yes, that's true. So, thanks, Kate.
You're still ahead of us.
Yeah.
We come last. We get less time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's really the main things. So just remember those key dates. I think there was a question pop up there about the total funding pool for Stream 1. Which we'll just consult to the magic guidelines because they are in there, and I'm sorry, I just cannot remember them off the top of my head.
It's
There we
an
go.
indicative amount.
Indicative funding for Stream 1 is $1.1 million. So available for grants applications up to 20,000. Absolutely. We definitely do support projects that have other funding partners involved. It doesn't have to be solely funded within this program. You know, if you've got a massive project, like Kate said, that you're just looking for us to fund a component of, and you've got others to pay the rest, absolutely. There's no expectation though that you do have a co-funder or a co-contribution, but we absolutely, if you do have other people that want to pay into the project, then that's fantastic. We see that as congratulations for being able to support the other, to source that other funding for your project, and for thinking of things at the scale that you're looking at.
And I would add to that too, if you are considering applying, to please make sure that you really consider the amount of in-kind that your organization or others are putting into the project. It is not a requirement, but it does support your application, and it'd be another way to evidence that you've got support for it beyond yourself writing the application.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of organizations take in-kind for granted. They don't, oh yes, I am just driving the 3 hours to go collect the table that we bought for the hall. Like, no, that's in-kind, and we're happy to, again, over the phone or email, etc., walk you through what potential things you might be able to include in that section.
Yeah, that's right. And there are actually formulas that you can use for calculating in-kind contributions, particularly when it comes to time. It used to be $41 is the
$45,
but it's gone up to $45 now. Yeah, so like Kate said, you're driving 3 hours to pick up a table. That's 3 hours there, 3 hours back, 6 hours by $45
plus fuel, plus wear and tear on the vehicle.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's 72 cents a kilometre is the ATO rate. So you don't have to go into that much detail, but when you're thinking about your volunteers and the time that no doubt you yourselves also contribute to your organisations. That's the type of thing that we look at is, we very much value the contribution that volunteers make to communities. We ourselves volunteer in our own communities as well. So, 85 cents a kilometre. Yep, thanks, Andrea. Yep, see, again, gone up again, which is great. So yeah. Did anybody else have any questions that they wanted to ask of us? Thank you, Karen, for joining us as well.
You can move to the next slide, Brooke, there's our contact information.
Yeah. So you'll see on there's my name, Fiona Bradshaw. If you've got an email from me, it's probably signed off as Fee. So either is fine. And my colleague Alicia is in Western Australia as well. So she actually lives in Western Australia. So and she handles Northern Territory, South Australia, Tasman, WA. So you are very welcome, Catherine. I'm glad it gave you some clarity. So if nobody's got any further questions, we might just wrap things up from there. Thank you so much again for taking the time to join us. We're really excited about sharing this program into communities and seeing the investment, transform even at a small scale. So thank you so much.